Hi, this is David at How Now Video. Today I'm going to review some new cameras by Panasonic. This is the AG AC160, and very similar to the 160 is the 130, which is about $1,000 less. Now, what's new about these two cameras is that they're a little bigger than the HMC 150 and they weigh a little bit more. My first impression when I picked this camera up was that it was a beefy, heavier camera. Now, another unique feature about these two cameras is the lens. The lens has a very wide angle image similar to the 150, but it has a 22 times zoom, which is extraordinary. Now, if you look up here at the front of the camera, we have three rings. The first one is the iris ring, the second one is the zoom, and the third is the focus. And other features that you can see on this camera are the neutral density filter, which is a nifty little knob here that you can switch between the three settings or leave it off. And another feature of these cameras that I really like is the preset setting for white balance. Now, in the past, you had a preset of only 3200K, which is stage lighting, or 5600K, which is outdoor. But these two cameras now have a feature where you can dial in your own white balance. And let me show you how that works. So as long as you have white balance set to preset, there's a little button on the front which you hold down or push twice, and it'll cycle between the built-in white balances. So currently the preset is on 3200K, which is good for stage lighting. If I push this button twice in the front, I will get the next preset, which is 5600K, which is good for outdoors. And if I hit it again twice, we go to the variable, and you can see here VAR. Now, the way to dial in your white balance is to hold down this special function button for 2 seconds or so. And then if you pull the button down or push it up, it'll change the setting. And I'm going to hold it down here. So you can dial in a white balance. Now, this is a very powerful feature because if you're under some lighting conditions where you just have to tweak it, it's not 3200K, it's not 5600, it's something in between, this is a great way to do that. Of course, you still have the ability to set a white balance or a B white balance. So like I said, there are two different cameras. There's the 130 and the 160. I have the 160, and it's about $1,000 more than the 130. So what's the difference? What do you get for that extra $1,000? Well, let me show you the back of the camera and you'll see the difference. So on the 160, you will get the SDI out. In addition, for that extra $1,000, you'll also get variable frame rates that go between 2 or 60 frames per second, as well as high quality PCM audio. Now, those are the features that are not on the 130 model. Also, Panasonic has announced an update to their firmware for the 160, which will be coming out in a few months, which will allow this camera to shoot in full 60p video. Now, that's a great feature to have, so if you want that update when it comes out, this is the one to buy, the 160. What are some unique features for both of these cameras? Well, in the back here, there are two memory cards for your SD cards. Now, these cameras record in AVC HD, and you're able to record to both cards simultaneously, or one card will fill and then it'll jump to the second card. So if you have a long play or a musical production, you don't have to worry about switching cards. Now, if you decide to run them simultaneously, you will have an exact duplicate of the first card on the second card. So you could have one as a safety backup, or you might say the client might want one of the cards, so you give the client one and you have one for yourself. Another interesting feature about these cameras is that you can video in standard definition. Now, why would you want to videotape in standard definition? Well, perhaps you have a computer that is kind of slow and doesn't really handle AVC HD very well. You can record in standard definition and take the card out and plug it in and drag those files over. You can also output using the FireWire 6-pin output here if your editing system has a FireWire built in. Now, another feature that is included in the more expensive 160 model is that it's switchable between 60 Hertz and 50. So if you're using this camera in the European market, no problem. This camera will do both European and the 60 standard. Now, concerning audio, this camera comes with 2 XLR jacks. And you can see here that I have a wireless Sony lapel mic plugged into channel number 2. Now, turning the camera around, you'll see here that you're able to set your phantom power and assign it to either line level or mic level. Now, one problem I have with the cameras is that this little tiny button here, it's a little switch. That is to set phantom power or leave phantom power off. It's nearly impossible to switch. I think they do that so you don't accidentally switch it, but I had to use a little pen to try to push that to change it. So that's kind of a unique feature here that might be a little troublesome for people with big fingers. Looking at the other audio settings, you can see here that you're able to use the internal mic on channel 1 or 2, and then you can route your inputs to either channel 1 and 2 or both channel 2 inputs going to left and right. Now, down here is a feature where you can set your audio gain to be automatic, so it'll get louder and softer depending on your sound source, or you can set them to manual. And down here you have your typical volume buttons. Now, I'm only doing a quick overview of these cameras. There's a lot more information at Panasonic's website. I will provide a link to some very helpful videos that'll describe a lot of the features, such as the autofocus and some of the other things that you can learn about these cameras. So I appreciate you watching, and I will end this video with some clips that I took with my new AG-AC 160. Enjoy, and thanks for watching HowNowVideo.com.